Okay, the first thing I want to talk about in this video is seeds. Seeds you can buy online unless you happen to know somebody. There's a few things to know about seeds. First, feminized versus the non-feminized seeds. Non-feminized seeds means that you will have to plant 4 seeds if you hope to get 2 girls, but you could still end up with 4 boys. You don't want boy plants. Those have seeds. Those aren't the ones with the big flower buds that you would consume. So these seeds here are just some that I've collected. I have never bought anything but flowering, although I do have a friend who does, or I'm sorry, not feminized. I have a friend who does the non-feminized. So I always buy feminized seeds. Once you know you're going to get feminized seeds, then you have to decide whether you want to do an autoflower, which is a 3-month seed, sometimes 2 to 3 month seed, or a photoperiod, which is a 6-month seed. I would recommend autoflower for you when you're first starting out. They're a lot easier, a lot of things you don't have to worry about. The downfall with autoflowers, well, they take half the time, but they're probably a little bit less than half the size. So all in all, you're probably growing a little bit less with autoflower, but if you're just doing this for your own consumption, that's probably still going to be plenty enough for you. Autoflowers are called autoflowers because after about 2 to 3 weeks, they automatically go into flower. And you don't have to do anything to trigger the flower. If you were to grow a photo period seed, then those are the 6-month seeds. If you were to flip the lights from 18 hours a day to 12 hours a day, that makes them go into flower. The problem is if your tent has a light leak, where it's getting light in the middle of the night, it can cause your plants to re-veg, and they'll go back to the vegetative state, and you got to start all over from the flowering state, flipping them back to 12. Also, that kind of strain can make them become a hermaphrodite, or herm, as they call it, or herming, and that means that your female flower will start to grow seeds. Male flowers, one of the dangers of growing the non-feminized seeds is if you did have a male flower and you didn't catch it in time, it could pollinate your females, and then they would all have seeds. So again, I highly recommend feminized. With autoflowers, you can actually give them 24 hours of light a day, depending on what you want your electric bill to be. I like to give mine a little bit of rest at night. I don't know why, I just feel like it's more natural. I run anywhere from 20 hours to 22 hours of light for mine. The more light they get, the more they're growing. I give them a couple hour break in the middle of the night. So these are the different seeds that you can get. There's all sorts of different strains. So one of the things you want to know about is CBD or THC. CBD is more medical. It's more pain relieving. It's less of a high. They say you can't get high at all on CBD, but I have a CBD only 100% that can make me a little loopy. So, but I also have a very low tolerance. So you just have to, you really won't know what affects one person one way, might affect someone else the other way. These here are half CBD, half THC. And then some like this one from Fast Buds, Northern Lights, that is almost all THC. So you just do some research and experiment with the different strains, where you buy them. So there's plenty of places online, a lot of them that are overseas. You have a big risk buying them overseas because if they come through customs, they could get confiscated, even though they're legal to grow in many places. So I usually like to just buy mine from a reputable seed bank. That's someone who buys genetics. They call seeds genetics. They buy them from all over the place. So Multiverse Beans is the place I like to get mine from. There's also a company called Seedman that they started out just in the UK, but since I started growing, they now have where they'll ship from within the US. Both of those were great. I really like Multiverse. There's probably a ton of other places, but if you try to buy them online, check with a reputable group and find out the reputation. Another thing to consider is whether or not they're good genetics. A lot of these things like Northern Lights, Cinderella, strains that have been around for a while, they're good genetics. And if you're buying them from a reputable seed bank, the seeds are going to do well for you. I've got this one, Dark Matter. It was free. I couldn't find much online with it. That's the other thing. When you buy seeds online, they usually will throw you some freebies. So that's how I've got so many seeds. A lot of these were free seeds. And just trying to buy different strains. But this was a freebie. I popped one seed. It's the first seed I've ever had. It died in seedling stage within a couple of days. I'm trying it again. It could be bad genetics. It could just be something I did wrong. So you always got to test them out. But that's about it. I told you about photo period. Different things to know about the strains too is they're going to come across, they're going to say they're either sativa or indica or hybrid. Now, some hybrids might be 80% sativa, 20% indica. This hybrid is, or it could be, 40%, 60%. You need to know what the impact of those and how they impact you. High sativa gives me anxiety. So I can't consume high sativa. I don't sleep at night if I do. I prefer a more indica dominant. But indica, sativa is daytime, gets you up. Indica makes you relax. That's why a lot of them are kind of hybrids, because they get the sativa to kind of pick you up and give you motivation, but just enough indica to keep you calm and not getting anxiety. So the way I remember indica is in the couch. When you take indica, you are in the couch. You're not getting off the couch. And it's called couch lock. And that's something important to know. I'll talk about when we talk about harvesting, because you can actually grow your plants and harvest them at different times for different effects. But for right now, I would recommend getting yourself some indica and some sativa, unless you already know what type of strains that you like. But that's it. I didn't mean to talk for 8 minutes on seeds. Biggest things to know whether you're getting indica or sativa, or a hybrid. Know whether you're going to have autoflower or photo periods. If you wanted to do both, you would need 2 different environments. Or else you would have to raise your autoflower, the 3-month plant, on 12 hours of light, which is, in my opinion, feels just wasteful, because it won't get as big as it would if you had your 18 to 22 hours or 24 hours. And then, feminized seeds. Just always buy feminized seeds. If you ever get to where you want to master seeds and grow your own, then you can get non-feminized, but I don't have any interest in doing that myself. These are plenty good enough. I don't need to create my own strain. All right, I will go on to talking about your indoor setup, but I will create a link to the 2 places I like to buy seeds from. Happy growing.